As I sat down to edit another episode of Words About Books, late on the day it was supposed to go out, I realized I had very little memory of what we had talked about. I'd been traveling the previous week by train. It's a strange way to travel. I didn't encounter any ghosts or goblins, but, just a matter of time, I suppose. Anyway, I remembered that this episode was about the Dresden Files, and so I thought it would be appropriate to begin with one of my famous smoky monologues. I forget where we left off. I remember we left off in the middle of a conversation. I could listen to the tracks and determine exactly what was going on. I think I cut somewhere around the vampire stuff. I think the vampire stuff is probably where we're going to pick back up with Harry Dresden going to the vampire ball and admiring many of the vampires' voluptuous and, in some cases, not voluptuous breasticles. Nathaniel Creed, my partner in crime and life. And, book podcasting. Yeah, we do that too. He'll be there, talking to you, jiggling, making a general nuisance of himself. Anyway, I think I'll probably start the intro music now, after a few of my more delightful mouth noises.
So he saves the day, and he's like, how is this all connected? I've got ghosts coming out of the spirit world in droves. We forgot to mention that, but Agatha Hagglethorne was not the first. And then we've got weird barbed wire, and this man just got mauled, spiritually.
And he's not even a ghost. He's a man.
He could have been a ghost, though. As in, we could have made him a ghost if he continued to cross us.
Sometimes I just sit there, gazing at the sky, and thinking about how every human is just a ghost inside of a skeleton.
Harry Dresden is called a chauvinist pig on more than one occasion by more than one woman.
As they did in 2001.
There's also Bob the Skeleton Man, who is British for some reason. He wants to ride along with Harry when this is over. As in, he wants to be inside of Harry's head when Harry is fucking Susan. Gross, is what I wrote.
So Bob is a spirit of the Fae that has entered into a pact with Harry that he can hang out in this skull and help Harry with his research. In exchange, Harry will provide him with pornography.
And protection. Someone had a disagreement with Bob, and so Bob's like, if I ever go back, they'll murder me in a way that's like double murder because I'm already a Fae creature, and I that's bad. So Harry provides him with protection and also porn, and in exchange, Bob hangs out in a skull in his basement, and also, Bob wants to be inside Harry's head when he's going to town on his girlfriend.
Do you want to do the discussion like you can be Harry this time?
Oh,
and I'll be Bob.
I don't even remember what was said. I think
we can try to deduce what this creature might be.
Yeah. All right, Bob. Here are the facts as we know them. All right. Ghosts. Barbed wire. That's it. That's actually all I know. There's also a creature out there doing stuff.
Oh.
Get him, Bob.
Gosh, Harry, I think you might want to leave this one alone.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that, though. He came after my friend, whose name I don't remember.
Harry, his name was Hampson, but I really don't think that you can take this one, Harry. I think you're going to have to let this one go. Call me again when you have more pornography for me. You know how I like it, Harry. Interracial. Good day.
Yeah, no, Bob, you're not going anywhere, because you're basically my slave.
Well, Harry.
So you're gonna help me out here, or I am gonna curb stomp that skull.
Odds and bodkins, Harry, where did you learn to talk like that?
I learned it
Fine.
from watching you, Dad.
Fine, I'll help you.
All right.
So, let's review the facts of the case. We have a ghost. A ghost crossing a threshold. That's not possible, Harry. It can't be done. I couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. Susan and her lovely hips probably couldn't even do it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a goddamn threshold, Harry. How many people did it take to get you across it?
It took a conga line of police and their wives to get me across that threshold.
For Christ's sake, you're a wizard, Harry.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Well...
There's nothing that could be strong enough.
Well, what if it's just so strong that when it crosses the threshold and loses most of its power, it's still strong enough to maul a man?
You know, now that I think about it, it occurs to me that it could be... No, it's silly.
Yeah, no. You go ahead and explain this, because I don't think you ever do in the actual book, Bob. What could it be?
Do you remember that exorcism you performed?
No. Please explain it to me, Bob. Explain it to me
happen
like I'm 4.
This did happen in the book, Nate. Though Bob didn't explain it, Harry did most of the work, but I can tell Harry's not going to do most of the work in this version.
Goddamn right I'm not, Bob. Bob,
Well,
when I
Harry.
was listening to this part, I'm pretty sure I think I was bathing.
As lovely a thought as that is, Harry. You once performed an exorcism where a half-rate 2-bit wizard was conjuring up a demon, and, well...
Oh, that was an exorcism?
It was many things. I mean...
I thought the whole thing was I cut off his magical power, and then Michael did all the heavy lifting by killing the demon with his sword.
Right, Harry. And if Michael killed it with his sword, with the nail that pinned Christ to the cross in its hilt, then maybe that demon died its true death that day.
Oh my
And what we are
God!
actually dealing with is not a demon, nor a ghost, but a ghost demon.
Or a demon ghost. Hell's bells! Is there any precedent for such a thing?
Absolutely none, Harry.
Okay, well, in that case, let's roll with this as the only possibility. Hey, I wonder what happened to that sorcerer anyway. I'm sure it's not important.
Did the cops say anything weird about him when you asked? Repeatedly, perhaps. Were they very cagey about his whereabouts? Did something awful happen to him? Something that maybe prompted an internal affairs investigation?
Stars and stripes, Bob. I'm a wizard, not a detective.
Stars and stripes. God damn it, Bob. I'm a wizard, not a detective.
Alright, Bob. Here's the plan. I just went and talked to a weird psychic guy who's getting out of town because he felt something cross over from the Never Never. So you are going to go talk to all your contacts and also read his notes because I can't be bothered. I will then go get into a fight with vampires. Cool?
Sounds good, old sport.
Alright, break!
And how'd that fight with vampires go?
It went really well for the vampires.
I got straddled.
He
I
did get
blew up a building.
Yeah, he did talk to some psychic or something, and then a fortune teller, I guess, whatever. And he's like, "Here are my notes, Dresden, if you really care." And he's like, "Thanks, I'll take a look at these." And then he never does, and Bob's the one who reads it. He's like, "I'm gonna go find that Lydia fellow.
I'm gonna go find that Lydia with the perky nips.
She has my charm, so I can locate it." And he finds her in a van, and he's like...
She was supposed to be in a church, but she perked her way right on out of there.
Yeah, she did. She was sinning against God with those nips. So he finds her in a van drugged up. Why was she there? Was she being used as bait? Yes, no.
There's two questions I have in retrospect regarding the case. One is they make such a big deal out of crossing the threshold. How was whatever it was able to cross the threshold? And that is never answered. They say it's a ghost of a demon, like that's the answer. And I'm like, okay, whatever, you're making it up as you go along. I don't care. I'll go with you. But spoilers, as plausible and reasonable as that situation sounds, it's not the ghost of a demon.
Nope. There is an answer to that one. What's your second question?
There is?
Yep. What's your second question?
Okay. My second question is, what's Lydia? Who is Lydia? Why does Lydia matter?
She is a psychic, I think.
Right. So she sees, now maybe she's just some like young hot thing and the vampires were picking her up because they were picking up young hot things. And she just happened to have the psychic powers to know they were going to get her, but like I don't know why specifically her, like
she was also one of the children Kravos, the sorcerer, kidnapped to summon the demon.
Oh shit, that's right. But oh shit, you're right. You know what? Book's smarter than I thought.
And we're about to answer question 1 because we're going to get into that.
All right, answer my question, Riddle Master.
Well, first things first, we have to talk about the vampire fight. They got Lydia, and they attack Harry.
Oh, vampire spit is heroin, by the way.
Yeah.
If you didn't know that.
It's fucking awesome, man. You should try it sometime.
You should let a vampire spit on you.
They get in a fight. He fires wide on his blasting rod.
You really enjoy the blasting rod.
Yeah, he yells "Fuego" every single time.
Ventus servitus.
So, the vampire straddles him. Some of her saliva gets on him, and suddenly it's like, oh yeah. Oh man, I can't wait for her to drink my blood. Oh, it's gonna be so awesome. But then, unfortunately, the building collapses, the sunlight pours in, she burns away, her human skin starts to fall off, she's like a gross bat creature underneath.
So I want to pause you there, because that's also another thing I liked about the book. That the vampires are these disgusting bat creatures, similar to like Witcher vampires, but they have a human skin suit that they wear. I don't know if it grows naturally or if it comes back, but like, or if they gotta like sew it if it's damaged. I don't know how that works, but I like that there's a reason to not want to be a vampire.
Yeah, instead of just being a super sexy, awesome Superman.
Yeah. So that was cool. I like that they're weird bats with skin suits.
So the vampires flee with Lydia, who is drugged up and was just sitting in this van. So again, I don't know why Lydia was just hanging out here, but there you go. Dresden was like, it looks like she was here for a trap. Oh shit! But then it turns out to be the vampires. But whatever.
Yeah. I don't know why she was there. I don't. Obviously, I forgot a lot about Lydia, so if you don't know, I don't know.
So, yeah, Harry Dresden comes home and he decides to sleep it all off. And he remembers. He's dreaming about that bust. Sorry, let me rephrase, because bust makes it sound like he's dreaming about some boobs. Which he would be, but he's...
if anything, he wasn't dreaming about the bust, and that's why it was a nightmare.
He was dreaming about that case with Kravos the sorcerer and the demon. Except this time, whatever Harry does to him that cuts off his magic, Kravos escapes it, works it on Harry, the demon starts killing people left and right. Harry's like, I'm gonna use my magic on the demon.
Magic missile! I'm out of mana!
But he's cut off, and then the demon throws pocket sand at him and then bites him through the stomach.
Pocket sand! Yeah!
But then a cat wakes him up. Bob possessed the cat.
Yeah, the cat's just slapping the shit out of him. I enjoyed that.
He wakes up and he talks to Bob. And here's how he got through the threshold, Ben.
Oh, shut up. I remember it now. I remember it all now. So, Harry, when you dream, you go out into the never never. And when you're out in the Never Never, you can create your own little pocket dimension. And when you're creating your own pocket dimension in your sexy dreams that I wish you'd let me ride along for, then a ghost or a demon or some creature of the Never Never can get in and possess you. You went it, Harry, not the other way around. I didn't forget, you forgot.
Oh my god.
So how about that pornography, mate? Bruv? Whatever. What?
Governor?
I'm offending people.
Good. So the nightmare is what they've been calling this demon creature thing. And I'm reading my note. Of course, the vampire girl has some sexy sex while trying to kill him.
Which time?
Yeah.
There are like 6 parts of the book you could be talking about.
So the nightmare grabs Michael's wife, Charity, who is also pregnant.
Oh yeah, it'd be a real shame if something happened to
Oh,
her.
I guess first he takes over the form of Harry because he's got some of Harry's magic now. Harry is weaker now, Ben.
Yeah.
That will come up precisely once.
He bit the magic right out of Harry's bowels and colon.
That's where the real magic is.
That's where the deep magic is.
Do not cite the deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written.
So the demon goes and puts Murphy into a nightmare. It goes to get Charity, which is Michael's wife, and it's gonna like sacrifice her or something. A battle ensues, right? In a graveyard.
Thee thou thine thou, Dresden wizard, thee.
No one uses those words anymore, bro. We're using the hit new slang, daddy-o, like, stars and bars.
I will gut thee like thine fucking fish, wizard, thee thou.
The way he says wizard is like, it feels dirty when you say it.
Wizard.
It sounds like you're being kind of like racist somehow, even though you're saying wizard. Like, I don't appreciate that. Could you stop? I
Fuck
feel dirty
thee,
when you
wizard.
say it.
Fuck thee right up thine ass.
Look, I may not have a lot of magic power right now, but what I do have is a duster and a hat. So, fuck you.
And what I have is all your brown magic.
Yeah. But you can't imitate this with just brown magic. You can't get the duster just right. That takes experience.
I guess I punch Charity in a pregnant stomach.
Oh, jeez. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think.
She like
her
falls
water
on
breaks.
a coffin or something. She gets the shit beat out of her.
She gets fucking wrecked for a person who is about to give birth any time now. And spoiler alert, her water breaks during this fight. And they're like, he's not doing so well.
No.
He's taking a turn for the worse. It's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, like a superhumanly strong dude just threw her around a coffin. No, like a stone crypt.
Yeah, Michael has the power to end this right now with a death sword made out of Jesus. But he threatens to drop a coffin on Harry and his wife, so he's like, I'll throw my sword down. And the nightmare's like,
Ha! You idiot! I'm gonna kill him anyway!
I can't remember how it ends. I know that the nightmare runs away. Oh, yeah! Harry's godmother shows up and is like, if you give me just enough power to defeat this thing here, but not permanently, I'll give you whatever. You want servitude? I'll bend right over. But first, you gotta give me just enough of my brown magic back to defeat this thing. She also heals him. Oh, we need to talk about that hospital scene. But yeah, the nightmare escapes, and Harry is like, wait, hold on. I need to welch on my deal. Let me use the power of Jesus! And Michael's like, wait, no, you can't welch on deals using my sword. And he tries to use the sword, and it flies from his hand.
Shasha, I have taken your Jesus sword, and I will do with it what I want, you dumb, stupid motherfucker.
And then Harry's like, wait, hold on, we can talk about this. How about I give you what you want in exchange for the sword? She's like, bye. he welches on a deal, and then he's like, wait, hold on.
My deal!
We can talk about this. I'm willing to deal in a different way. Like, no, bye. So they get to the hospital, and Dresden's in the ER. He's like, I got a concussion or something. I have severe head trauma. And the doctor, this makes me wonder if Jim Butcher has ever been to a hospital. Same with Peter Klein's, of course, where the doctor's like, oh, you've got head trauma? Oh, you're a fucking liar. There's nothing wrong. There's a cut on your head, but it's like a scarred, healed cut from like months ago. You're lying. You're wasting my time. Get out.
I know you're just here seeking some more of that vampire spit. You fucking spit juicer.
The ER doctor would be running a whole bunch of tests on you just to make sure there's nothing wrong. Number one. Number two, he would be billing you for all those tests. So there's the thing. Covering his ass, and I guess it was a lady doctor. She's covering her ass, and she's getting billable procedures.
Question. The thing I most noticed, now I don't work on the inside of the hospital, but I have been to it more than I'd like. And if you go in and you're bleeding out the head, right, or something, how fast would they take you back if the ER was just like totally full? Because in my experience, it was not fast.
Yeah, no.
They're like, do you know where you are? Do you know who you are? Okay, go take a seat.
Yeah, exactly. You're conscious. You're talking to us. Your head trauma is probably not that bad, so you have to wait.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So they'd have been in that ER for like the next 3 days.
Yeah, I saw a review. Maybe it was either on Reddit or it was on my actual hospital. I think it was on my hospital. They rated it like a 1-star or something. Like, I went into the ER and they wouldn't take me. So here, everyone try this tip. Just say you have chest pain. They'll take you back right away. And then while you're there, you're like, oh yeah, by the way, here are other things that I have problems with. It works every time. It's like, I think I hate you, sir or madam.
I've never wanted it that bad, but I would recommend, here's my tip. Go to urgent care. Urgent care will take you way quicker. And
Yeah.
if it's in the middle of the night and urgent care is closed, if you think you'll survive the night, just wait.
Yeah.
I have gambled my life many a time.
I have received, when I was on call, I got a call directly from a patient
How'd they get your number?
well, it was through a call service. So they call the service and it's like, okay, I'll put you through to the guy who's on call. I got a call at like 2 a.m. about a guy who had a really itchy burning rash.
Mm-hmm. Was it like spreading rapidly?
That was the stupidest thing I'd ever been called for. And I resisted the urge so hard to say, what the fuck do you want me to do about it? I said, if it's really bothering you bad enough that you need to call someone at 2 a.m, you need to go to the ER. Otherwise, the clinic is open at 8 o'clock tomorrow. And they were like, yeah, I thought that's what you'd say. It's like, great, I'm glad you woke me up for this. And I never saw him again, otherwise my plan was to be like, hey, next time, really think before you call and wake me up in the middle of the night.
Do you remember when we were streaming StarCraft?
Oh, Jesus. That was like 10 years ago, man.
Yeah, it was.
It's like the before time.
I streamed StarCraft with you. And while we were streaming, I started coughing up blood.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And so it didn't feel like it was coming from my lungs. I wasn't having any trouble breathing, not having any chest pains or anything like that. And so I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. Is there a cut in my mouth or something? And it didn't stop. It just kept going for like hours. Every time I'd cough, there'd be blood. And finally, I was like, I think I got to go to the urgent care. And I go into the urgent care and I was like, I'm coughing up blood. And like the lady's eyes just like bug out. And I'm like, but hear me out. I feel fine. I don't think it's my lungs. And she's like, okay. And they take me back. And like, I had somehow like allergies, like way back in my sinus cavity. it was just completely dry, cracked, and bleeding. And it was draining into my
nice.
throat. But yeah, that is how unbelievable I found this ER wait. I was coughing up blood. And I was like, I'm going to see if urgent care can handle this.
But first, I need to finish streaming StarCraft.
I did, actually.
Very
I
important.
did, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just kept tasting blood. I wasn't actively coughing it. I was dedicated to that stream we abandoned a few months later.
All right. So then Harry decides he binds the nightmare to him. So now the nightmare can only target Harry, Copperfield, Blackstone, Copperfield, Dresden. But while he's binding the nightmare, he feels the magic of someone else at work. And then he decides to go to the vampire ball?
Every magic
Why do you
user
wanna
in
do
town is going to be at the vampire ball, Nathaniel. And that means if I shake hands with every single person at that ball, I'll be able to compare the feeling of their hand magic to the feeling of that demon magic. And then I will know who is controlling that demon. And Nate, you want to know what?
I don't know about this, Harry.
Michael?
Yeah, I feel like your use of hand magic has really diminished since you started dating Susan.
I can't even sense the presence of the Sith Lord. but no, you know what, Michael? First off, you swordless cuck, shut up. Second,
Oh, it is true. I've got knives, but they're just not the same, man.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, one, Michael's kid's dying, and like they're pulling Arwen. Her fate is now tied to the ring. Like somehow this kid is gonna die if they don't solve this case. I don't know why, but he gets.
I don't think that's actually.
He gets better
what
as soon
happens.
as they solve the case.
I was gonna say I don't think anyone ever explicitly says that, but he does get better at the end for some reason.
Yeah, they seem to really tie it to the fate of the case. I don't know. Maybe it's God. Maybe God was like, "Hey, Michael, if you don't make this one, if you don't give me my sword back, I'm gonna kill your son. I've done it before, Michael. You've read the book. I'll take him. I'll take him so good. And this isn't a fake out like that other time."
Yeah, and Michael's like, I need to be here with my family, and Harry's like, you can get a babysitter, right? It's like, Michael, my wife and kid are dying in the hospital.
Wizard
yeah, but
stuff.
Like,
come on.
Yeah, but like they're in a hospital. They'll be fine.
Michael, do you know what the boobs are going to look like at this vampire ball? Have you ever heard the term, Michael, big titty goth chick?
I don't think Michael's into that. So focus more on your rage, Michael. Focus on your rage. Your impotent rage. So they're going to go to this ball, and Michael dresses up as a priest or some shit.
Do you know how long it took me to figure out it was a costume ball? That was not specified.
I actually didn't think it was. No, it wasn't.
But everybody goes in costume.
Including Harry.
Yeah, because Susan's dressed as a Little Red Riding Hood. Michael is dressed as a Knight Templar, which is not... Because later it's revealed that the invitation says, come as something you aren't. And Michael is a Knight Templar, so he should have worn a different costume. And therefore,
he should have worn his Satanist gear.
Exactly.
His assless chaps and his horns.
That is what they wear, I understand.
Yeah, no. Harry goes as a cheesy vampire. I actually kind of laughed at that. He has like the fake teeth and the cape.
Powder blue tuxedo.
A guy who's trying just a bit too hard. Great. I liked it.
I did like that he went to the vampire ball as a vampire. That was fun and a little bit of humor. Little weird, juxtaposed so closely as it was with Michael's dying child.
And with the children that were going to be fed upon at the ball.
It was
it's
a
like,
little weird.
That's sure funny, Harry, but there are like kids who are going to be eaten here.
There sure are, Michael. Look at them boobies.
he does talk about, like, oh, the dress cupped her breasts in a specific way.
Okay, no, let me tell you what every woman's tits looked like. Here we go. Okay, so you've got, I forget the good vampire's name, Thomas. Thomas is one of those sexy vampires, and his date...
Whites.
Yeah, his date is wearing, like, flower petal pasties over her nips. And
Stars and bells.
And otherwise, she is uncovered. And then...
Oh my god.
Bianca has big old biddies, and they are wreathed in flame that just barely covers them, but like pushes them up and gives them a nice sheen. And then Susan, Little Red Riding Hood. So they are stuffed into this little Red Riding Hood blouse, and rocking below the navel, she has got like a pleated checkered skirt. And it's a little too high up. And she's also wearing knee socks. And Harry's kind of into that. He didn't know he was into that, but he's into it now. But it's okay, because they're in a committed relationship. It's allowed for couples to find each other sexy. You know, you got to spice it up sometimes. And then who else is there? There is Countess Dracula. I forget her name.
Mavra?
Yeah, Mavra. Yeah, she's dressed as like Hamlet.
Did they actually talk about her boobs?
Yes, they do.
The one that they didn't.
Nathaniel, because she looks
okay.
androgynous. She's very corpse-like. She's dressed as a man. Harry almost didn't clock her as a woman, but then he noticed her shapely buttocks and
my god, you're
ever
right.
so slight bump in the chestal.
Oh my god, you're right. Oh god. All right.
And Michael's were Harry.
That about summarizes it. Yeah, they wander around the party. They meet and greet. They find a dragon, I guess. Maybe he's important later. I don't know. His godmother is there.
Oh,
also her breasts are described.
Her tatas were on point, on fleek, as the kids used to say. Voluptuous and equally scantily clad. She is wearing a more conventional dress made of some sort of fabric, unlike most of the women. That is all the main characters. The other women at the party are just described as being, you know, conventionally attractive, somewhat young, a little too young for Harry, which again, how old is Harry? Oh, and when Harry's ogling the girl with the flower petal nipples, Michael is even like, Harry, that girl is like 19.
And he's like, yeah, that's just above legal,
he's like,
buddy.
I wasn't looking? What are you talking about? I wasn't looking. It's like,
yeah, hey, it's not a crime to look, unless it's child pornography, in which case it is. But she's 19. it's okay. Michael, you're like, or Harry, you're like 50, 30, 40. I don't know how old you are actually, but it's still weird. It's still weird.
Michael, be cool. For once in your fucking life, be cool.
I will not be cool because the Lord commands me not to be, sir. If someone's in trouble and or has large knockers, I will either help them or ignore them respectively, sir. Also teats.
I want to talk a little bit about Michael, just real quick, because...
Please do.
Okay, Michael goes to this vampire party as like Harry's backup. He doesn't have the sword, but he still has quote-unquote faith magic. No one really knows if there's a god. It's kind of like implied heavily that there is a god because faith magic works, but we never know if anybody else's faith works. We only ever see the Catholic Church, at least in this book. So, Michael...
Take that, Jamie.
Yeah, Michael... Poor Jamie. Okay. Jamie is Jewish for our audience who doesn't know. Okay, so Michael says something like, if I see people in danger, I am going to help them regardless of how dumb or hopeless that task may be. I will get you, me, and the person I was trying to save killed, because I will not watch someone be ravaged by monsters. Not in my present, not while God's watching. And Harry's like, that makes absolutely no fucking sense. And this is the one instance where Harry is right about something, logically speaking, because it's like, Michael, if I didn't drag you out here to this vampire ball, you wouldn't have come. You would have known it was happening, but you wouldn't have come. And you would have known that vampires that kill innocent people, that's what they do. And you wouldn't have come in here and like burned this whole place to the ground. Michael, if you don't want to see innocent people die, you might as well just burn this place to the ground right now, because that's all these people do all day, every day. It is their literal job. So shut up. You don't go around picking every fight you can't win. That's just dumb. You have a sword, not a Gatling gun, okay? So just
maybe
shut up, Michael.
Maybe Jesus should have provided a Gatling
Maybe
gun.
He should have. I did not like Michael's take. I thought it was kind of lame.
Kind of James Holden-y?
Yeah, it was very
Kinda.
like, obviously he can't do that. Like, obviously they're going to yank his chain back and he's going to, like, okay, he's uncomfortable with the situation. I get it. But to just, it was another one of those, like a literal threshold moment. Like, every time somebody's crossing a threshold in this book, we have to have, like, a threshold moment where it's like, this is where I stand and this is where you stand. And I don't want this, but I will do it. And you know what? He doesn't kill anybody. This whole conversation goes nowhere. He just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, basically.
Glad we got that on the record.
Yeah. Yeah.
Indeed.
So,
So,
they go into the party. They mix it up. Harry decides to drink wine that would obviously be poisoned, and oh my god, duh, it is. I like how Harry was like, we need to be on guard. We need to make sure they're going to come and get us. Everyone wants to destroy us. They can't do it overtly, because that would be against the rules. Oh, thank you. I'll have this wine. Anyway, like I was saying, they can't get to us overtly. They're not just going to shoot me. Oh god, why do I feel so...
My throat's really scratchy after drinking that wine. You think I'm allergic to wine?
Oh, my... Harry, it's me, Thomas. I just want to let you know. Oh shit, you already drank the wine. Well, shit. Yeah, it was poison. You big dumb idiot. Obviously. You're the one human here. You even said they could have someone do a drive-by and just fill this hall with bullets and everyone would be fine except for you because you're the only mortal here.
You know the funny thing? I think they poisoned it with vampire venom, right?
Yep.
And
well, vampire spit, but...
As Harry's walking around, he sees people, presumably drugged out of their mind, presumably on vampire venom, just like laying all over the grounds, just in various stages of passing out. And it only occurs to him after the fact. Like, per tip, kids, don't take a drink you don't know where it came from.
Especially when you know that the people around you want harm to come to you. Well, he's like, I gotta power through this. Let's go. And then that's when Susan shows up. He's like, ah, shit, how did you get
He doesn't
in
power
here?
through it.
And she's like,
he, in a long scene, makes himself vomit.
But he doesn't vomit enough, Ben. He still has it in his body.
In his body.
So he has to power through what's left in his system, Ben. And that's when Susan shows up. And he's like, how did you get in here? And she's like, I'm an investigative journalist. And also, I forged an invitation. And Harry's like, oh, fuck. You dumb idiot. Actually, no, this was me. You dumb idiot. What were you thinking? Why did you go to a vampire's ball with a fake invitation? Obviously, that's going to end poorly. And it does. I even wrote down, I kind of think Susan's an idiot now.
Harry, I'm not an idiot, okay? I have a knife, a cross, and a super soaker filled with holy water. Now, I know these things can move.
I thought you were joking about that last part, but no, she actually does have a super soaker full of holy water.
I know these things can move faster than the speed of light, but I think I can get the drop on them.
Well, if it helps, they're going to stop running so fast. They're going to dumb themselves down to our level. It's going to be really nice.
That is one complaint.
Yeah, also Kyle shows up and his sister, grabs the cross that Michael's on and her body erupts into flame. So, I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, they're like, we got to get out of here right now, Susan, you dumb idiot. Wait a minute. What deal does Harry make?
Okay, so Harry's magic starts going completely awry because a wizard's word is his bond, and Harry lies all the time and double crosses a bunch of people, so his magic stops working.
Because he's constantly welching on teals.
And so his godmother can ease that burden by, I guess, forgiving some of the debt, basically. But she's not going to do it for free. So he doesn't make the deal. Susan makes the deal.
She gives up a year of her memories.
Again, after careful negotiations.
Yeah. Very careful, where she's just like, oh, yep, a year? That sounds easy. Who are you again? Where am I? Why did I come to this ball?
Okay.
Full of vampires.
Except, stupidly, she remembers everything except Harry Dresden. So she remembers she came to the ball, but she doesn't remember where she heard about it or where she got the invitation. Any memory that has Harry in it, she's vague on. The dealing got to be, this is where I started to get a little tired of it. I was like,
what, you didn't like that every deal was broken immediately?
The deals have no consequences at all. Like, it would have been better. I think maybe he wrote himself into a little bit of a hole with the godmother thing. Like, Leah shouldn't be in this book as much as she is.
It is a little strange that she is here. She's such an important focal point.
Yeah, it's just Deus Ex Leah. Like, she's just constantly coming in and bailing him out or getting him into trouble. And you know they have this push and pull relationship, and you know she's not going to get him because that's not the end this is building towards at all. And so he just keeps making deal after deal, and he just bullshitting his way out of it. There's not even it's not even a clever trick. The closest they get to a clever trick comes a little bit later. But
yeah. Well, okay, Ben, let's make a deal right now whereby you give me $10 and later on I will pay you $100. But once you give me that $10, I'm just going to stab you and leave.
No, it's kind of like, if I give you $10, you'll later give me $100, and then you come to me a little later, and you're like, if you give me $50, I'll later give you $150, and then you come to me a little later, and you're like, if you give me $500, I'll later give you $1 million.
Yeah, no, that's
and about
right.
the fourth or fifth time you do that, I'm starting to suspect you may not have an intention of paying me back. He literally just walks away from her a bunch of times when she comes to collect. And then he makes more deals. And even Michael is like, this isn't gonna end well. But what Michael doesn't know is that Harry Dresden is actually a very profitable character in this series.
Yeah, he's the main character. So
this is
gonna end really well for him.
Anytime they write themselves into a hole, making a deal with Leah, literally only Leah, always Leah, is there to dig them out of the hole. She's just got an endless supply of magic to keep giving him over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And that was a little bit lazy. I do like his relationship with Leah. I like Leah as a character. I like that she's hounding him, but she also she has plans for him, but she doesn't seem to just want to torture him and kill him. She's not like a demon. So she's a more interesting, more nuanced character than that normal Faustian bargain. But yeah, I don't... You kind of want them, and the tension they're kind of building between those two characters is that maybe they can one day see eye to eye and work as proper allies rather than this constantly taking advantage of each other's stuff.
Nah, I want them to fuck.
That might be what Leah wants.
Yeah, why not? She's desirable, Ben.
She is. And unlike a Rulin, she's in charge of something. Though a Rulin is a pack of dogs away from being Leah.
That would have been an awesome twist.
If Rulin fights off the Laza Tigers with her pack of hellhounds.
That'd be great.
I saved you, Ganima. You dumbass, our plan was to get caught. Everybody's so mean to me.
I'm going back to my dungeon cell now. All right, should we move to the end of the ball?
Yeah.
They're like, we need to leave, and Mavra is there, and they talk, and then they talk, and then they talk, and then they talk some more, and they keep talking, and they're talking a bit, and they have a conversation. They speak to one another. They spoke to one another, and then Mavra leaves because we're in the gift giving part. That's how I felt about this, because they threaten each other. They're like, if you I know one of you. Michael killed her sons, right?
Yeah.
So she hates Michael,
Yeah.
and Michael doesn't have his sword, so she's like, I'm gonna kill him, but he's a protected guest. Or maybe he isn't. I know that the invitation is only for a +1. You've got +2, so choose who's going to stay behind and get murdered by me.
Yeah.
And Harry's like, nah, I'm going to go past you. And she's like, if you go past me, I'll consider an attack. And then Harry was like, well, actually, you're not going to attack me first. You're going to wait for me to attack you. So I'm going to go past you. And then she's like, oh, okay. Well, actually, we're shutting the doors because it's gift-giving time. Bye. But that went on for a long time. They talk a lot.
They do talk a lot. It is too much. I agree it's a bad scene. Mavra's another character that really has no place being in this book. She is literally...
She's the one who used the barbed wire magic bag.
Right, but you didn't need to have the barbed wire magic.
Well, you could have just made it with Bianca.
Well, yeah, and here...
Spoiler alert, she's the villain.
Like...
If you didn't figure that one out.
Obviously, but in my opinion, I don't know. In my opinion, the barbed wire idea came first, and we worked backward from there.
I would say that I thought this was going to be more about ghosts and that weird nightmare demon, and it ended up being about vampires instead.
I don't hate the vampire stuff. I think...
I don't hate it, but it wasn't what I was wanting or expecting.
There's a thing we got to keep in mind here is it was 2001. Vampires weren't as horrifically played out as they are at the current moment. I think a lot of people probably did want vampires back then, and a lot of people probably got what they wanted. I think the red court, black court, white court stuff is interesting. I like the internal politics of vampire stuff. I like Mavra's whole aesthetic. I like the corpseified vampire with the black magic. She's more of an ethereal being. She's bound by different rules. I also like the lore he created, that what we know about vampires, the holy water, cross, garlic, all that junk, that applies more to the black court than the red court, because the black court uses magic more. They are more creatures of magic than the red court.
But it's a different type of magic. It's a cold, lifeless magic.
It is, yes. It's corpse magic, basically. They're walking corpses.
It's necromancy. Call it by its proper name.
But this conversation was another instance of, I gotta reveal Mavra. I gotta get Dresden out of the situation. Like this, there's a sense I've gotten when editing stories, especially, of, and I was even telling you this when we were talking about your erotica. Like, I can tell the scenes you went in with a very clear image of, and then the scenes that were connective tissue that you knew you needed to write. Because the scenes you have a very clear image of, they flow, they hardly need any touches, just edited for like spelling and grammar. Then there's the connective tissue where like the sentences don't flow quite as well. You're just kind of trying to get them on the paper and get them done with, and you're not as interested. You're just not as interested in spending time there. And this to me smacks of one of those scenes of connective tissue. The gift-giving scene was obviously a scene he had a clear idea about.
Yeah.
The meeting Susan and having her bail Dresden out was obviously a scene he had a very clear idea about. Mavra, just he had a clear idea for her as a character. You can tell he really enjoyed writing the description of her in the Black Court and all that stuff. But how she ties into this is meh.
Yeah, and after this ball, she just leaves town, and you never hear from her
Exactly.
again.
She was there to help Bianca cast the spell, and it's like, that's why I say, does Mavra need to be in this? No.
But we need to explain why Bianca's so different.
If I were the editor, I would insist this get reworked. If you must introduce the 3 courts, rework Mavra.
Or just cut this conversation down.
Yeah, just have the doors close a little sooner.
Yeah, there's supposed to be some tension, but then it just goes on for a while. Because first it's like, are they going to fight? No, they're not going to fight. Are they going to fight? No, they're not. Are they going to... Nope. All right. And the doors close.
This is the how do we get to the restaurant problem I talked about in Thrawn. Of, we don't really need to dwell on how do we get out of the vampire ball? And it's like, well, we can't just leave. Why not? Social obligation?
Well, no, we put Mavra there.
Exactly. So that's like
we can't just leave because there's a Mavra.
Yeah, and the solution is cut Mavra and just close the doors.
So the doors have closed. You give gifts and you receive gifts. The dragon does some stuff. The fairy godmother gives the sword to Bianca. And Bianca gives something else I can't remember. And then Bianca gives Harry a tombstone. Says that he died doing the right thing.
It's a pretty nice tombstone.
And then Mavra has the sword. And also
Lydia in a hamster cage.
And she's gonna get killed by this sword, which will undo the sword because it will taste innocent blood. Although, if you read... this is the Bible. I mean, is she really innocent? Has she gone to church recently and repented? I mean, she could have sinned on the way here. Whatever. Innocent blood will be spilled on the sword, and it will undo it. We've got to stop them. Holy shit, she could just swing this sword down right now. She'd be dead in an instant.
How long does it take to swing a sword? So, I'm going to say something,
At least 7 minutes.
So you start swinging the sword, and I'm gonna say Ventus served. You already killed her.
Maybe because Mavra is a skeletal undead creature, she doesn't have muscle tissue.
No, she literally moved in the blink of an eye, not 2 minutes earlier. Another reason to cut that scene.
That was before the fight scene came out, Ben.
Yeah, so vampires are described as moving in the blink of an eye. You can't see them. They're so fucking fast. They're so goddamn strong. They can lift you off the ground and toss you. But don't worry, because between Dresden, Michael, and Susan is holding her own for way too long.
Yeah. And Thomas. Don't forget
and Thomas and Flower Petal Nips.
Yeah, I can't remember her name either. I can remember her nipples, but I can't remember her name. Thank you, Book.
I think they talk about her dress more than they talk about, because they talk about the flower petals falling off during the fight. It's, oh my god.
They also talk about later on she's got a bow just over her boobs.
It's
like at the end of the book.
Samantha?
I'm gonna say no.
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, I don't think that's her name.
I don't care. So,
but she's an important character, Ben.
Yeah, so the vampires, she's an important MacGuffin, Nate. Now, the vampires are nerfed greatly in the seconds after the doors closed, because yeah,
the doors close and they become the generic minions of an Avengers movie. You just drop them left and right, cannon fodder all the way.
Susan's spritzing holy water. She even throws some holy water on a floodlight, and the floodlight's real hot, so that makes it boil instantly, which isn't really how that works. But that vapor causes a bunch of vampires to inhale it and go down, and then
God, why don't we just turn everything into holy water?
And then they're casting...
Just turn the ocean holy water.
They're casting...
You'll just have a holy planet.
All these spells, Ventus, Servitas, Fuego, Latin gibberish from Michael. And all that time,
Fuego.
yep, we got a fuego or two, and just all the taco sauces, and somehow
El Diablo.
somehow in all that time, this woman that can move in the blink of an eye has not swung the sword to unmake it.
Because she was so distracted by the melee. She was like, oh my god, I wonder how this will go.
Yeah, no, I can totally understand how a vampire would momentarily forget they're holding... First off, question. How can a vampire hold a sword that has the literal blood of Christ on it?
Because Harry Dresden tried to welch on a deal.
Yeah, that's a problem to me. I don't think, because crosses affect them, right?
Yes, as we saw, a vampire burst into flame, touching the cross of a true believer.
So you would think, whether or not, I don't know. I guess maybe he's arguing then, because maybe if I read the other Dresden books, it would make more sense.
No.
If it's a faith-based thing, like if a Jewish person holds up a Star of David, or...
No, Michael doesn't show up until now, unless you mean later books.
Yeah, I don't...
In which case, absolutely not, okay? Star of David doesn't count, James, alright? It's only it's the cross or bust.
The cross or bust. If it's the cross or bust, then I'm going to argue that a nail of the cross that has Jesus' blood on it should not be able to be held by a vampire.
Unless you use it to try to welch out of a deal with a demigoddess.
And also...
It's right there in the fine print of the Bible. Okay?
I'm somewhat surprised that this it can be unmade if it spills the blood of an innocent rule just pops out of fucking nowhere. Another thing I would just cut. We could have her killing Lydia being enough to prompt the group. Like Michael has previously mentioned in what might have amounted to foreshadowing, that he is not just going to watch somebody get executed by these vampires. Certainly not with his holiest of swords. That is enough to prompt everybody to run across the room. And the whole idea that it's going to be unmade, that's dumb. That's dumb. Why would it be unmade? Why does God have to follow the rules? It just undermines...
Can you just remake it? Like, you go get the nail and you just forge a new sword with the nail. I got the idea that once Michael got the sword again, other demons and shit couldn't pick it up again. Like the rule of he used it to welch out of a deal, so now anyone can touch it, kind of got reversed once he picked it up. Is that right?
It was because Harry used it to strike an innocent, basically. He was trying to strike somebody who had not broken any of the rules.
Well, Mavra fails to swing a sword in 7 minutes.
Yeah, better ways to do that. As long as it took us to discuss it just now. That is about how long it played out in the audiobook. And she didn't swing the sword in all that time. So, and even I wrote this down. I barely wrote any notes for this, but I did write down in a somehow Palpatine survived moment. Harry goes, "She should have swung the sword, but she didn't." And he just says that. He's like, she definitely would have swung the sword by now, but somehow she didn't. God, ? Did God stay her hand? Did God not? God is the force in this.
That checks out.
Whenever some bullshit happens, I
don't know what more you want from me. That checks out 100%.
Yeah, Thomas is fighting with them because for some reason they don't like Thomas either because he's cool. I think that's why, because he's cool. And so Thomas, Butter...
Well, they hate Thomas because the girl that he's with was going to be Bianca's girl, but
Oh yeah, Bianca runs a whorehouse or something?
I don't fucking know. Or care.
Yeah, I guess that happens in another book.
So they're all surrounded or whatever, and Bianca's like, I could kill you right now with my minions, even though you have proven to be better than all of them. But
Okay.
How about this? Thomas, I will make you a deal. If you kick If you eliminate Susan and these other guys, we'll let you and the girl, Justine is her name. We'll let you and Justine walk out. So Thomas just like casually nudges Susan into a throng of vampires where she is devoured in the dark and possibly sexually assaulted, it's implied.
You and I pictured that very differently. I was thinking he like football punted her into that crowd.
No, because the book said something like it wasn't as much of a kick as it was like a nudge.
Dang.
Because he's so damn strong, he doesn't need to... If he football kicked her, her skeleton would come out of her skin.
She'd just go through the ceiling. He'd actually save her. Quick, come here, Harry. I'll punch you out of the room.
So she football punts, or he football punts and or nudges her. I think he nudges her. She gets swarmed by vampires. And then Bianca's like, well, we made a deal, so you know what that means. I'm a welch on that deal. Kill Thomas as well. She also welches on deals, Ben.
Also, Thomas isn't wearing a shirt. I forgot to describe his boobs. They are
majestic.
Alabaster white. Ask me why that color's in my fucking head.
I know why.
I bet you do.
Our patrons will also know why. So if you want to know why, specifically, $5 tier.
If you want to hear the story that made me think that perhaps Nate and I have grown too comfortable with one another. $5
You're locked in now, buddy.
All right. Yeah, and then Harry goes Super Saiyan.
Fuego times 2!
Yes, he does the Fuego Ken times 3, and he calls down all the fire. All of the fire.
All of the fire.
And there's just fire on everything. It's spreading down the walls. It's spreading down the vampires. And Harry's like, everything's fire. And he's like passing out. So Michael, he like lifts Harry on his back and he grabs Justine. Does he grab somebody else?
I think no, he
doesn't get Justine.
Yeah, he gets Harry, and Harry is like, you gotta go back for Susan. And I thought Michael said like, well, I have to get you out first. I can't carry you both.
He does.
And
say
then
that.
like he doesn't go back for Susan.
Well, I think that was more of a casual, like, Harry, we both watched her get torn apart by vampires. That's why you did the fire thing. Do you remember that? It was several seconds ago.
No, I don't remember that. I am fucked up on vampire juice.
So they can't find a way through, and Michael says a little prayer, and he's like, I like Michael's prayer, because Michael's prayer is like, God, I know Harry is a giant piece of shit, but you know what? He's okay sometimes. And if
God's
just
like, okay, you're vouching for him.
Yeah, God's like, okay,
I'll trust you.
Okay, and then there's some wings flapping like an angel, and then there's a tunnel cleared, and everybody's like, wow, oh my God, did God just directly answer a prayer? That has literally never happened. And then no, it's Lydia again. It's not Lydia, it's Leah. Too many L's. It's Leah. She's not going to let Harry die, because if Harry dies, then she can't
collect that booty.
Yeah, I don't know what she wants to do.
Spiggity spooty, give me that booty, right?
Yeah, so Michael goes back in. He saves several innocent people, but not any of the ones that matter. And he throws Harry in a pickup truck, and they drive back to Harry's place. Michael's wife is not speaking to him because Michael has not been in the hospital with her as their newborn child is dying.
She was in a hospital. She was in good hands.
Yeah, she's
What
pissed.
was I supposed to do? Be a caring husband who's available to you? Come on.
And now Michael's having this crisis of faith because he's like, oh no, I lost the sword. Maybe it's time to retire. Maybe I should focus on my family. Oh my God. What am I gonna
Michael,
do?
listen to me. Don't you ever think about focusing on your family.
Knock, knock, knock.
Oh,
Knockity, knock, knock.
This'll be good. Who is at the door? I'm opening the door.
Harry, let me the fuck in. It's me, everyone's friend, Thomas. the vampire.
All right, let's kill him. Yes.
Should I
that's
kill
exactly
him?
what we're thinking.
Should I kill Thomas? And I know what you're thinking. But the answer may surprise you.
I'm gonna go get my knife and my holy water. You keep talking. Yep.
Okay, but here's the thing, guys. I brought a giant rifle case with me. What might it contain?
It's gonna contain your remains in a moment.
You guys are idiots. Have you ever read a book?
No.
I believe you. Has Bob ever explained a book to you?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah.
I
So-
cannot read. I gave that up to become a wizard.
So I have a case with me about the size and shape of something rhymes with Schmamarakis.
Yeah, I don't follow. I think we should just kill him. What do you think?
It's your stupid sword. It's the fat one's sword. God.
Fat one. Michael is fit as fuck.
I picture Michael as kind of like a bear man. I think he's got a big old barrel chest, but I think he's got a gut.
I don't think he has a gut.
Oh, I think he's got
picture
that
him
big
as-
old bear daddy physique. Yeah, that's what I'm picturing. That's what I want.
Well, that's weird and untrue.
I want his nips to be just a little out to the side. And
We both know that he won't describe the man's nips. Men don't even have nips in this universe. Nips are on the X chromosome, and if you've got 2 of those, I'm going to get in trouble for that.
if you got 2 of those, it's just guys can only have 1 nipple because they only have 1 X chromosome. It's bilateral symmetry, or lack thereof.
So, okay, cool. You brought Amarakis. That'll make it easier to kill you with. Thanks, man.
Wait, my friend. I need you to save Justine. You remember her? She had the flower petals on her tatters.
Yeah, I remember her standing next to you as you kicked my girlfriend into a crowd of vampires.
Aha! Do you remember your girlfriend?
Who? Oh, no, sorry. She doesn't remember me. I remember her.
Did you ever tell her you loved her?
No, absolutely not. But I do love...
She wasn't really your girlfriend if you didn't tell her. I don't know why you're so upset.
Oh, okay.
You'd only
that
be
case-
upset if you loved her.
In that case, Michael, pick up that sword, and Thomas, would you mind... Whoa, what is that thing over there that's directly behind you? Whoa, you should turn around and look at that for a moment. While we
Oh
stab
God,
you.
Michael, you didn't save Lydia, did you? Lydia's possessed.
Ah! Oh shit, yeah, you're right. Lydia's here.
Yeah.
And possessed for some reason. And that's when we're like, that's when we find out the big reveal that the Nightmare, you remember the Nightmare? Used to be the main villain of this story, but kind of a side villain now.
I'll break thy wizard nuts off with my teeth.
Yeah, well, you know what? You're a team. Wait a minute. Big reveal. You're not the demon at all. You're Kravos.
That's right, that's why I made so many mistakes earlier with the Old English. I've been Kravos all along. That was a subtle clue and not at all a mistake on Jim Butcher's part. Ha-ha!
That's really nice that for some reason you were doing the Old English to begin with.
It was a trick, maybe. Roll with it. Wizard!
Yeah, again, please stop saying that. I feel like we have to censor every time you say wizard that way. It's just, it comes off as racist when you say it, Kravos.
Wizard! Yeah.
Alright. Time for the exorcism. So was the plan to trap a demon inside of Lydia and then kill Lydia with a sword
No, I think
that
Lydia
had a
just fell.
demon trapped in?
No, Lydia just fell asleep and he possessed her because she fell asleep and she was
Oh, okay.
nearby.
Okay.
No. So Lydia, demon. This is a chance for Thomas to really prove himself here. So Lydia is freaking out, right? She's possessed, but Thomas, he remembers he's a vampire and he's got that magic heroin spit. So he licks her back and she's like, oh, shiver. And then he starts feeling her up and then he like goes down under and then they start like doing some heavy petting right there on Dresden's floor and Thomas gives Dresden Dresden, do your wizard shit. I can't hold her for very long. And Dresden's like, oh my God, is that what you were doing? Yeah, no, let me get some salt or some shit. God, oh wow. And
Let me get you a hose. Shit.
yeah, and so just as Thomas is rounding third base, Dresden completes the circle and he casts out the demon who he now knows is Kravos, the douchebag. And so he casts Kravos out, and then Thomas is still like dry humping Lydia's unconscious corpse, and Lydia's unconscious corpse is kind of into it. She's like rocking, and Dresden's like, "What the fuck is this?" And the audience is like, "Yeah, but for real though, like what?" Dresden's like, "Hell's bells! Don't let Bob see any of this." And
Bob's
get off of
in
her.
on that?
No, Bob, shut up. And then they get him off of her, and he's like, "This is bullshit. This is bullshit. I thought it was free speech in here, Dresden. I didn't think it was bullshit.
I thought this was America.
I didn't know this was Soviet Russia. God damn. No wonder you have all those pictures of Stalin, you son of a bitch. But fine. I know where your girlfriend's being held, and I guess we can go get her."
Yeah, it turns out that mansion that we were in for that costume party, it had a basement.
No, literally, it's fine. Like, the yard burned, and the bulk of the mansion is fine. And they've been, like, trying to smooth it over with the fire department. Okay, so it's fine.
And then they're like, okay, we can't just go in the front door, because there are dudes with guns.
That did make me laugh. You know I love every time somebody who's not supposed to have a gun just has a gun. No, it's literally a tennis uniform. What's his name? Kyle. Kyle pulls out a gun and tries to shoot Dresden. And somehow that doesn't work.
No, Dresden had earth magic in his cane.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, guys with guns. We can't handle that. We can handle an entire party of superhuman badass vampire monsters. Guys with guns? It's not going to work.
The audience has too clear a picture of how they work. Can't bullshit it.
Yeah, so what we're going to do instead is we're going to go through the Never Never. Now, every time we've gone to the Never Never, bad things have happened to us. So I've got a plan. And all we have to do is, once the inevitable happens, I'm just going to take some poison. Genius.
For whatever reason, I was picturing this whole, like, chase through the Never Never as the whole, like, from the Hobbit movie, Radagast chasing the wargs, or, like, being chased by the wargs or whatever. And, like Leah's just got, like, a sled pulled by her hellhounds, and she's just like, yeah.
That's kind of what I pictured, too. I actually pictured that the hounds were pulling her.
Yeah. So, joke's on Leah. Leah catches up with him again, and she's like, "I got you this time, Dresden. There's no way you're getting out of it now." And Dresden's like, "Haha, joke's on you, because I'm a big smart boy. I ate a big old poison mushroom before I came here, and if I don't get to a hospital in the next, 24 hours, I'm going to die in horrible, bloody agony."
I'm gonna be shitting blood out of my body as I writhe in agony. Gotcha this time, didn't I? Idiot!
A lot of egg on your face, dumbass.
Oh god, it hurts to laugh.
And Michael's like, "I happen to have an antidote that can slow it down. He's still going to need a hospital." And Leah's like, "Give me the antidote." And he's like, "You want to make a deal?"
You son of a bitch. But yeah, I kind of do want to make a deal. I love making deals.
I just fucking love making deals so much. I wish I didn't.
So she makes a deal for the antidote that she won't harass them for a year and a day, as long as they don't come into the Never Never. Which, judging by how many times he goes into the Never Never in this book,
almost assuredly will.
Yeah.
And he will have to make another deal.
And then she's like, "Well, I didn't say I said I wouldn't harass you, but all my friends didn't make the same pledge." And it's like, I feel like that's the same thing.
It is. But you know what? She's been more wronged here. I'm willing. She's allowed to start cheating on these deals. So she sends a bunch of people after him, and then there's a bridge for some reason, and they got to hold the bridge. And so Dresden's like, hold the bridge, and they do that for the next week and a half.
But what's the point? Because if she gets Dresden back, he's still not going to make it to a hospital, and he'll still die.
The point is, if Michael and Thomas go with Dresden, we won't get to have the next scene.
That is exactly the point. I think it was designed just to separate them.
Exactly. And then the Balrog yanked Gandalf back. And so
Dresden goes in with Bob, and Bob's like, hey, this is a trap. And ta-da, it was a trap. Somehow they knew he would use the Never Never to enter her mansion secretly.
Yep.
So they capture him, and they drug him. And off-screen, they go to town on his... You want to describe it, Ben?
Oh, I want to describe it.
He's got vomit on him, and they're playing with him.
No, I'll explain that. So yeah, they hop him up on all kinds of vampire shit, and they're gonna start feeding on him. But when they take a bite of him, he tastes like week old mushrooms. So they just continue to play with him in what I think the audience is left to assume is a sexual way. I think
yes.
Dresden was raped.
Yes.
It's
absolutely.
heavily implied that he was raped.
That is what the synopsis that I read to help with my notes says.
Yeah, so it's heavily implied that he was raped. Justine was raped.
Not in the way that the Southern Book Club's vampire slaying that shit. Well, it wasn't graphic or explicit, and it wasn't. No. It was vaguely alluded to, maybe.
Yeah, it's vague enough. They just say they played with him, and it's hinted that play was of a nature that it was both degrading and dehumanizing. And fill in the blanks yourselves. The same thing apparently also happened to Susan and Justine, but Susan was fed upon and maybe turned. We'll come back to that. So Dresden wakes up nude as the Dickens, and he is also covered in bloody vomit because, as we mentioned, he is dying from the mushroom ingestion because he's a super smart boy. And Justine's there, but now she's crazy as shit because it turns out what was happening was Thomas found somebody who had no ability to regulate their emotions whatsoever. He feeds off of emotions. So it's a symbiotic relationship, actually.
Oh, I thought she had like schizophrenia or something.
She has something like bipolar or something, severe bipolar or something.
Someone who would probably be in an institution back in the day.
Yeah, so Thomas, they have a symbiotic relationship. He feeds on her extreme emotions, essentially taking them away from her, and then she is able to function more or less normally. Now, without Thomas, she is having a major mental breakdown. And they have a talk.
Get this girl some lithium.
They have a talk that I don't remember, and I kind of can stand because I cannot stand James Marsters trying to do a female voice. He goes for it, and he shouldn't.
I'm Justine. I don't like that you're skipping over my key part here.
It's not like that. It's like, no, they're gonna get you. No, they're gonna get you. No, Dresden. No, it's gonna be so bad. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's awful. So we got to go back to Susan, who has a slight southern lilt. That's how you know she's female. And that's all he should ever do. For future audiobooks, if you're recording them, James, and you're listening to Words About Books for your feedback, don't go for the high pitched.
All these audiobooks.
Yeah, don't go for the falsetto. Hire a different editor. So he finds Susan. Susan is turning into a vampire, but hey, guess what? More vampire lore you didn't know. You're not super duper a vampire, like you're not in the club.
You're like a half vampire right now.
Susan has pledged the vampire sorority, but she's not accepted until she completes her hazing, which includes eating someone. She has to kill someone. As long as she doesn't do that, she's not really a vampire. No idea what that means because she seems to be a vampire. She has all the vampire...
That means she's not a weird bat creature yet. Once she feeds, she grows a bat creature underneath her skin.
You are correct. That is what that means. You're right. Oh, look at you. This book has all the answers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he finds her. She manages to resist. He says, I love you. He will continue saying that for the rest of the book, every other sentence.
Because I love her.
I can't do it because I love her.
You just went a little bit of Casey from Marked.
Yeah.
I love him.
Which is also Lumpy Space Princess.
He uses the power of love to get her memories back. And,
they get her memories back. He's again, remember this whole time, he is nude and covered in crusty, bloody vomit.
Yeah, but they love each other.
Yeah,
and
they
that
sure
doesn't
do.
matter. I show up from work every day, nude, covered in crusty, bloody vomit, and I tell my wife I love her, and it's A-okay. That's how that works.
I'm going to give you a sequence of events.
Okay.
Dresden wakes up covered in bloody vomit.
Okay.
Dresden picks up a towel and tries to wipe some of it off. It is a dry towel. He does not get all of it. The book is explicit about that.
Right.
He wakes up Susan. She starts getting vampire hangry, and
Yeah.
she licks his chest.
Okay. All right.
Now you tell me, did Jim Butcher forget he was covered in bloody vomit? Because I sure as fuck hope he did. Because otherwise, that's a real weird fetish.
Oh, God. Oh, why does it taste like refried beans
And is that poisoned mushrooms, you dumb bastard? Yeah. So, there. You want to sprint to the end?
Well, he has to beat Kravos again by... Kravos kills him temporarily in the dream world, and then he makes a ghost of himself, and then he gets his powers back from Kravos, and then kills Kravos permanently, and then he's got all his power, and also Kravos' power, so he's super duper D-Saiyan, and he runs into Kyle and other girl, and he's like, Kyle, I'll give you one chance to leave, otherwise I'm gonna kick your... Oh, you punched me, Kyle! And Kyle actually kind of kicks his ass for a moment, but then Susan interferes, and he kills him. And then he's like, I'm gonna get you out here, Justine. And Susan, where'd you go? Oh shit. Okay, Susan just kind of wandered off. All right, well, time for the epic showdown with Bianca. First, she unleashes a volley of bullets that do nothing, and her men run in terror. And now it's just me and you, Bianca. Oh, okay. Here's what I'm gonna do, Ben.
Please keep in mind Dresden is more or less nude still and covered in bloody, crusted vomit.
Yeah. Well, Bianca's there with like a duke or some shit, and I think that's important for later books, but I don't think we're going to read later books, so I don't care.
It's High Duke of the Vampire Council, and if he doesn't make a deal...
Yeah. I was going to say, I'll be Bianca making you a deal, Ben. Or Harry. All right, here's your deal. I'll let you and Justine walk out, and I'll forgive all your past trespasses against me, including burning down my mansion and making me kill my lover or whatever the fuck that one girl was. In exchange, I'm gonna feed on your girlfriend, Harry. Just every day, just going to town on her blood.
No one feeds on my girlfriend but me, Bianca. No deal.
What? But I'm a super trustworthy person who always keeps their deals. You remember that one time I told Thomas he could live and then betrayed him immediately? Trust me, I'll let you walk out of here. But if you don't, this is war.
I'd made a lot of deals in my time, and as I gazed deep into Bianca's eyes, I could see that this deal was going to go no different than any of the others. I'd betray her, she'd betray me. The only difference is, this time, there were boobles on the line.
Boobles?
And I was not about to lose them sweet taters to Bianca or anyone else. And if I played my cards right, there might even be some of that vagina. So...
That's how babies are made. A man and a woman comes together and, like, something, man pees on her and...
Bob, get out of my inner monologue, Bob. Now. I do.
Oh, God. Jesus, fuck. So, yeah.
I knew what I had to do.
Get your ass kicked by vampires and then come up with a plan on the fly.
No, Bianca. I love her.
I'm gonna pour the last of my power into another spell for the 3rd time tonight.
This is the super duper last of my power, but I got some more power from Kravos. So with the super duper lastest of my super duperest power, I am going to cast one final spell. Fuego Ken times 3.5. Ghost Edition. I'm going to commit a little light necromancy.
He doesn't solve his problems with fire, he solves them with ghosts. It's all thematic. And the ghosts come out and they kill Bianca and all of her followers, and the Duke is like, oh, so there be war then.
Yeah, there does, you fucking douche.
And that war apparently lasts 10 years, because the book
Real
where the war
time.
ends is like 2011. And then Susan, she's on the run. She can't be with Harry because she's still got this urge to feed. She can't be with him because she can't control herself. She did send him a card. Send him a card for Christmas. Just had
It was
3...
his birthday, it was Halloween.
What the fuck ever. I don't give a shit, Ben. Because it just had 3 words on it. I'll let you guess what those 3 words were. Sucks to suck.
That's good. Oh,
It works in so many levels. All right. So yeah, final thoughts, Ben.
I didn't hate it. You know, I know we made fun of it as we make fun of everything, and we had a lot of fun talking about it, but I think there's some interesting magic stuff going on. There's a lot of Deus Ex Machina. I think that's a big part of the problem. There's a lot of, the deals have no stakes. There's no consequences. Harry has a ton of plot armor. Basically, it's a soap opera. This felt to me like a soap opera. And so I was actually really surprised to hear that other books don't play up the romantic angle as much, because it feels like a big part of what it has going for it is by the end, I'm sort of tricked into caring about the characters and the drama. I say tricked. I mean, it's light. It's fun. We make fun of the boobies and stuff, but I think it's not mean-spirited the way sometimes that stuff is.
I said it was solidly thumbs in the middle for me. There's a lot of things I like about it. I like the magic system. That sounds really fucking lame when I say it out loud. I do like it though. I like the mystery aspect. There were some things that probably should have been cut, like you said, like Mavra entirely, for example. And I kind of wish that the Nightmare was the main event. He was the show, but whatever. We can't all have everything that we want. And like you said, it was 2001. Maybe that was vampires were more of a thing back then.
I think I'm a little more positive than you are. I'd say I'm a tentative thumbs up.
I don't think I dislike anything about it, except for just when obviously the audio production quality stuff.
Oh, the audiobook I would not recommend.
And also the every time he started talking about the boobs, I was cringing. I was like,
it is
oh,
cringy.
Please stop. Please quit it. I'm like, I'm enjoying it. And then her breasts softly like, oh God, stop.
I'd say it is cringy. It is male gazy. And I read a bunch of reviews, mostly by women who are like, I don't think I want to be in Harry Dresden's head. And I totally get that. It is off-putting. It's extremely off-putting. But again, I don't think it's mean-spirited. It's very male gazy. And in that way, it's misogynistic because it treats women as objects, of course.
Yeah. What they need is a female point of view that's like, man, look at that sausage under there. He's packing some heat under those pants.
The vibe I got was I don't know if this is Jim Butcher's third book ever or just the third book in this series, but I kind of got the vibe that he didn't know how to write women. Maybe that improves.
Well, you could start by talking about their jugs, I guess. The breasticles.
It's not even just that. None of the women really do anything. I mean, even
That's
Bianca.
not true.
Like, part of the reason I think, yeah, I was going to say part of the reason I think you're saying like you wanted the nightmare to be the main event is because that's what has all the character development, and Bianca is just kind of there.
Bianca was in the first book, I think is true.
Maybe that's why we're not getting as much out of it.
No,
but Bianca feels to me
no.
like everything she did was done off screen. We're very much told and not shown Bianca's rise to power. We're told and not shown Bianca's clever plan to kill Harry. It's a bit of a problem. I could look past all that stuff. I thought it was fun. I would be willing to read another one. As usual, I don't think I loved it as much as the fans love it. It seems like there's a lot of people out there who really think this is like the best thing since sliced bread, and it's not the best urban fantasy on the market by a long shot, but it does feel very similar to a lot of those supernatural soap opera shows of that time period, like Charmed and Buffy and all those like spin-offs, Angel and all that shit.
Oh, apparently at some point he's going to sexualize a teenager.
Well, would he be an author if he didn't? I mean, God, when have we seen that before? Frank Herbert.
What?
All of them.
To be fair, okay, to Frank, they weren't teens, they were even younger.
Chani was a teen when Paul met her.
I guess that's true.
In the spice orgy.
Obviously.
No, it's just one of those things where I could totally understand if you can't look past it. I
would say that Chani was okay, though, because weren't they both, like, 16? And, like...
Yeah, but Frank Herbert was not.
That's fair, but... I don't know, that didn't bother me as much as, like... The fucking Kanima's 9!
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't know what it is with authors.
Maybe that's why we haven't taken off yet, Ben. We haven't sexualized teens. Oh.
You could get. We've had this. This is the next Patreon bonus episode. Authors could get away with shit that directors never could.
Yeah, because I don't think anyone gives a shit about authors comparatively.
It's because nobody reads books.
Yeah,
they don't know what's in them.
I mean, there's a few authors where that is not the case, but that's because they're big-time billionaire authors.
Stephen King.
I was thinking more J.K. Rowling, but yeah.
Anywho. Yeah. I'd read another one. If any fans of the series listen to this and are super duper offended, I don't have to read anymore if you don't want me to.
Sucks to suck now. No, I would read another one if people wanted us to, but it's not one I'm going to go out of my way for.
I'd say I was pleasantly surprised, though. Like, I had a very negative impression of this series. I did think it was a little neckbeardy, and it is a little with the booby stuff, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. And I think maybe that's some of what's coloring my more positive review. It's really not as bad as I thought it would be. Most everything is above board. Harry Dresden is not like a total sleazeball. He needs to keep his eyes to himself a little bit, but he keeps his hands to himself, which is better than what I thought. And he's also not like... I thought he was going to be portrayed as like super cool guy wizard, and he is kind of, but also he's kind of played as like a doofy, schlubby.
Yeah, I do like that Michael's like, you're wearing a duster, you look fucking ridiculous. He's like, shut up, you look ridiculous. Michael's like, yeah, I'm wearing the garb of my work.
Well, and I do like that he's out of shape. I like that Michael's more in shape. Little things like I like. It doesn't seem like this series is too precious about Harry. Like they're willing to let him be not the king of every room he's in. In fact, it almost seems like he bumbles his way from one situation to the next and accidentally stumbles ass backwards into success, which is losing his girlfriend and starting a war, ? I actually liked that the end was kind of like fucked up. I thought it was going to be a happy ending, and it was more realistic consequence. It was the first time there were consequences in the whole goddamn book. Was the very end.
I think that's all of our episodes right there. That's 3 hours. You can probably turn that into 2 episodes.
Oh, well, I'm going to finish it off by saying you can check us out on Twitter at WABpod, Instagram at Words About Books Podcast. If you would like to get some extras and maybe give us a bit of your hard-earned money, you can go to patreon.com/WABpod or throw us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/WABpod. All right.
Harry. All right. Here's your deal. I'll let you and Justine walk out, and I'll forgive all your past trespasses against me, including burning down my mansion and making me kill my lover or whatever the fuck that one girl was.
I know you're recording. Can I steal the other chair?
Sorry, hang on.
Yeah, no, I could hear your wife.
I'm
Leave that in.
Shy can be on the Patreon.
Yeah.
So,
Shy interrupts. Shy gets worried.
Just give it a sec. Oh, God. Hey, Jared.
Oh yeah, Jared's coming over. And Jared's here.
Could you shut my door?
Yes, I'm gonna shut your door.
Jared, you're going to hear some weird shit.
Yeah, you're gonna do some weird shit. I've already been concerned a couple times.
Okay.
in exchange,